Hi everyone, it's Blake with FishBait. In this video, I'm going to walk through the Document Summarization feature in Laserfiche Cloud. I'll show you the requirements to use it, how to create, delete, and recreate summaries, how it affects your Laserfiche Cloud storage, and I'll walk through some real-world examples of the feature and what the results are. Let's get started. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to Laserfiche for providing me free access to Laserfiche Cloud in order to make this video. So the first question I've got is, what is document summarization? Document summarization is a feature that was added to Laserfiche Cloud a couple of releases ago, and it gives the Laserfiche repository the ability to take text from a document and then use AI to read that text and create a summarization of what that document text is. So it does require you to extract the text or to OCR the document in order for this to work. And then AI, which on the back end is ChatGPT 4.0, is going to summarize that document for you. So it's a really cool feature. I'll walk through how to use that. To start with, there are a few security considerations that you need to think about. So in order to use this feature, there are some rights to the documents that the end user has to have. If you want to create a summary, you have to have the append data entry access right. If you want to view a summary, you need read and see through redactions on the entry access rights. To recreate a summary on a document that has already been done, you need modify contents entry access rights. And to delete a summary, you need the delete document pages entry access right. So what I want to do next is actually bring in some real documents. Some of them are a little fictitious, but the idea is the same. But to bring in some documents that you might use in your organization and show you what the document summarization does with those documents and how that might be helpful. The first type of document that I want to bring in are invoices. So I have two invoices here. I'm just going to drop them into the web client. And you can see here, I get my import just like I normally would. I'm going to go ahead and generate text and pages. We'll tell it to go ahead and use black and white in this case. And I'll click import. And we'll do the same thing for the second one. And you can see these two documents here. And I can look at the details of those documents. I can preview it. All of that is available to me. And one thing that you'll notice here is that I also have a summary tab now in Laserfiche Cloud. And all I have to do is click this create summary. Again, I do have to have the correct access rights in order to do this that I mentioned earlier. But I'll just click create summary and it'll give us our three little dots letting us know that things are going. And within a few seconds, you can see here that I have a summary of what this invoice is. So the document's an invoice, it tells me the number, from Ace Tech to Widget Tech for services rendered, what the invoice includes, subtotal, when the due date is, and that it includes some addresses and phone numbers. So pretty fast. I can do the same thing for this other invoice here. And we get a very similar kind of summary created for us. You'll notice that in the top right of the summary, I have a few different options here. So the first one is I can actually delete this summary. So if for some reason I no longer want this summary, I can click delete and it will get rid of it. I can also copy the URL with summary, which is a really cool feature. So I'm just going to click that real fast. I have an email here that I'll just paste it into. And you can see that it grabs the summary for me. It actually has a link to the document within the Laserfiche web client for Laserfiche Cloud. So the user would also just be able to click that to take them directly to the document. and then it includes the summary that it created for me, and then I can email that off to someone or do whatever I need to. If for some reason you wanted to recreate the summary, we can also do that. Why would you ever want to do that? If you've used AI, algorithms that are being used for AI are ever evolving, and you could go through and click this and have it recreate that for you, and it might alter that summary for you a little bit to something that you like a little more. You'll notice that you can't give it any prompts, right, to tell it what it's supposed to do, what kind of format you want this in. So since you don't have that kind of control, you may want to recreate the summary. Something else that you might see is if a document changes, the summarization feature will tell you that the summary is based on an older version of the document, and it will give you the option to regenerate the summary. I'll also note that the summaries that are created with the latest update of Laserfiche Cloud are dependent on the length of the document. So the more words you have on the text that's extracted or OCR'd, the longer your summary will be. And the latest update will also provide sections, bulleted lists, all of that kind of stuff. And we might actually see some of that here in a little bit with some of these other document types. So those were our invoices. I'm now going to drop in a couple of contracts, and we'll see what it does with those. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll just make this black and white. Okay, so there is the document. We can click Create Summary. And you can see this one's a little bit longer, but again, only took a couple of seconds. If we open this document up, we can see the information that was on this contract. You'll also notice when you are viewing the document, we also have the summary tab, so we can view that here as well. Okay, so this one, it's a statement of work. It's telling us when it's dated. It's between the supplier and the client. It outlines the upgrade of widget software over 6 months, what the cost is. The project management will follow PMI standards, all those kind of details. So it does, again, it does a really good job of summarizing that for us, gives us a good layout of what's going on. Okay, let's try one more here. Again, we'll drop this in. Here's our new one that I just dropped in, create the summary. And there we go. All right. So those are contracts. We can also use this for things like resumes. So I do have a few resumes here. I actually have resumes for Darth Vader, Deadpool, and Wolverine. So let's see what happens here. We'll go ahead and import those. And let's take a look at our resumes. So here's our resume for Darth Vader. We can see that it's 2 pages long, has quite a bit of information in there. So let's see what our summary does. All right, so it tells us that Darth Vader is a senior project director and enforcement leader, has over 10 years of experience, recognized for excellence by the Emperor, specializes in strategic operations, risk management, and project recovery using Sith and Agile methodologies. Gives us some information about how much money he saved, all that kind of stuff. So, and again, this is a little bit longer than what we've seen previously. Let's look at Deadpool's resume. So again, some good information in here. This one's only 1 page though. It's about the same length here. Gives a pretty good summary of what's on this. And then our last one is Wolverine. And hopefully you're noticing how quick this is, right? All right, so that gives you a good idea of the resumes. For the next ones, I tried thinking of what are some of the most complicated documents to understand. And I thought about this for a while, and I came up with congressional bills. If you've ever read the language on those, they aren't the easiest thing to really comprehend. So I have some different congressional bills that I want to bring in. I've actually got 4 of them. They are PDFs. So I will drop these in here. We'll generate our text. One of them is pretty short. I believe it's only a couple of pages. Another one is a little bit longer. And then the third one, this one right here, is actually what's called the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, which is the COVID Act, what most of us know it as. And it's several hundred pages. So we will also summarize that. They'll give you a better idea of what to expect from larger documents when these are brought in. Okay, our other documents here should go a little bit faster for us since they're smaller. And these are real congressional bills, so I did go out to the government website and pull these down so we could see what they do. All right, so the first one here, let's actually take a look at this one first. This is a digest, so based on a congressional session. They wrote up a digest of what happened during that session. So it's only 2 pages, not very long, but we can create a summary for it. So it's kind of like summarizing the summary. But you can see here it gives us the date information, the time of the session, the House information, the bills that were introduced. There was 3 resolutions. There's several reports that were filed. So again, it does a pretty good job of summarizing that for us. All right, so the next one was the domestic seafood production. So let's take, let's come down to this one. This one is called Porch Pirates Act. So again, it's only 2 pages. So not very long, probably not that hard to understand if you took the time to read through it. This bill is actually about people stealing packages off of porches, and how that will be illegal if this is passed. So if it's someone other than the mail carriers, the interstate carriers, and commercial companies. So it tells you who introduced the bill, the co-sponsor. Again, a little bit shorter. So let's look at some larger ones here. So the next one, like I said, was the Domestic Seafood Production Act. This one is 13 pages. A little more information for us. We'll go ahead and create our summary. And you can see how this is a little bit longer. So this is where that new release of Laserfiche Cloud comes into play, where it starts giving you a bigger summary based on the size of the document. Or I should say the size of the text that was extracted from the document. Okay. And then the last one that we're going to look at, like I said, is the American Rescue Plan Act, which, as most people know, it is the COVID Act. And this is 243 pages. So a pretty lengthy document. You can see the text on here is actually smaller for the most part. So quite a bit of content. So let's see what it does with it. Okay, so that was about 30 seconds if you were counting, which for 243 pages, 30 seconds to get a summary of what's in this thing, I think is pretty good. So let's see what it did. So over on the right-hand side, we'll make this a little bit bigger. So here are those sections that I was talking about and also the bullet points that come with this new update in Laserfiche Cloud. So it breaks everything out for us, nice and neat, easy to read. And you can see that it's also longer than what our other summaries are, right? There's more information. Before the latest update, everything was pretty much the same size for the summary. So it's nice to see this update give you more information, but also keeping it short. And again, you can still use the copy URL with summary. We could refresh this if we wanted to. We could delete it, all that information. All those options are still available for you no matter how large the summary is. And speaking of sharing the summary, if you share this document to someone, you can include the summary as well. So if we click the share button, you'll notice that there is a checkbox here to include summary. And when you check that in the message area for this, it automatically puts the summary in there. So you don't have to worry about copying and pasting it into the message. You can choose that and then come in here and edit this however you want. So if maybe you don't want the summary, you can just uncheck that, it takes it back out. Or maybe you just want certain parts of the summary, you can edit this text as you see fit. So pretty handy feature. So we'll go ahead and close that document. So hopefully that's given you a pretty good idea of what the document summarization does, what it looks like, kind of the feel for it. So now let's talk about administering document summaries. Document summaries is enabled by default on Laserfiche Cloud repositories, and administrators with the manage repository configuration privilege can choose to disable it for the whole repository if they want to. This will hide all existing summaries if you do that, and it will prevent users from creating new ones. If you re-enable it though, existing summaries will be displayed and you don't have to regenerate those. And so if you do want to disable summarization, we can go up to the top right here to the waffle menu and then go to repository administration. And on the left-hand side, we'll go to general and then expand show advanced. If we scroll down here, we can see we have summary and there's a checkbox for allow document summarization using Laserfiche AI. There's also one for transcription. We'll actually look at transcription a little later on here. So if you have been using this and you want to get an idea of how many summarizations have been created, we can do that through the account overview section. So I've gone ahead and opened mine up, the account administration overview, and on the bottom right here you can see that I have 1,500 summaries per year that are available to me. And if I scroll down, I can see how many have been created. So document summary usage, it says 5 out of 1,500. We've done a few since then, so let's go ahead and refresh. So I've used 16 out of 1,500. When you create document summaries, just as an FYI, it does count against your storage limits. But keep in mind that these summaries are really small and they're just text. So we're talking about kilobytes of information that are going against your storage. So it's not taking up a whole lot of room, but just be aware that, hey, it is happening. And in order to create document summaries, you do have to create them one by one. So you do have to go to each document and create that. Later on, we might see some additional features with like process automation where this could be automated for us. And then the last thing that I wanted to show, which is really probably my favorite part of this whole thing, is bringing in a video. You can also bring in audio as well, but I'm going to do it with a video so you can see how that works. And there's another feature that, while it's not document summarization, it's really cool and it can go hand in hand with it. So I have this MP4 and I'm going to drop this in. This is actually, again, a congressional hearing. This is called the NASA reauthorization markup. And I'm going to come in here and you can see everything is normal, right? We can do templates, fields, location data if we want to. And I'm going to go ahead and import this. By default, what happens when you bring in an audio file or a video file that's supported is it will transcribe that file for you, that video or that audio. So if you think about that, it's really cool because that's basically like your closed captions, right? So it will actually grab that information and create the text for you automatically. And so let's say that you're doing meeting minutes, you're a city, county, anything like that, a school, and you're recording your board meetings. You can do the recording, bring it into Laserfiche Cloud. Laserfiche Cloud will automatically extract the text. You may have to make some adjustments, right? It's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. And once you've done that, you can then create a summary using Laserfiche AI. So with this video file in here, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Summary. And there is my summary of this video based on the transcribed text that was extracted from it. So in order to see the text that was transcribed, we can open this video and you can see here is the text transcription that was created by Laserfiche. And again, I didn't have to do anything. As soon as I brought it in, by default, it creates this for me. The only thing I had to do was create the summary. So it does a pretty good job. If you want to read through all that, you are more than welcome to watch this video slowly as I scroll through it and try to read all that. So hopefully this video gave you a good idea of how the document summarization works, what it looks like, the feel of it, and how you might be able to use it in your organization for your documents. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, be sure to give it a thumbs up, like it, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, keep fishing.